Hello, everyone. Daniel here once again, and or shall I say, we are continuing my series on the AWS cloud solutions, right? And this is for cloud engineers, for IT executives understanding the landscape, right? Our chief technology officer wants to know solutions, CEO, or maybe our chief financial officer, he wants to know what is the value proposition? How are we saving money doing this? And maybe you're just an individual and you want to get certified for the AWS Cloud Practitioner. So we are in chapter two that I've created, and this is the core cloud concepts. And let's get started. In this lesson, we're exploring the AWS Cloud Value Proposition and why it matters when deciding to adopt AWS. So, when we say value proposition, right, sales terms, right, and I'm a technical sales engineer and global account manager in IT, right? We're talking about the main benefits that organizations gain when they shift workloads into the AWS cloud, right? So, give me a moment here. All right. So, why does the cloud add value, right? The first big point, right, is very simple security. And at first, it might sound strange to say that moving to a shared cloud platform could improve security, but that's exactly what often happens with AWS. Let's dive in. So, think about it. You're a single company, you're running your own on premise data center, but rarely has the budget or expertise to match the security investments. And AWS, it can make you global, right? So AWS, they provide centralized services. They have automated monitoring and strict compliance frameworks. So all of which raise the baseline for protecting your data and your systems. So to to a benefit though, you need to avoid just copying your old data center habits into AWS. You're gonna lean into AWS native tools and approaches that go beyond what's possible in a traditional on-prem setup in our previous legacy systems. Okay, so the next key benefit is reliability. If you're recognizing that these terms, security, reliability, they keep showing up, that's because they are pillars of the AWS well architected framework. Okay. So, reliability covers ideas like business continuity, high availability, fault tolerance problems, and redundancy problems, right? By relying on AWS, you don't have to worry about time consuming, keep the lights on tasks, KTLOs. Okay. So this is a huge quality of life improvement for your tech teams. So, tech guys, this is why you're going to, you're trying to get your executives to switch you over to the AWS systems, your quality of life. To keep the lights on tasks bogging you down when you could be doing innovation instead of the daily maintenance like that, right? And this is the same for you C-level executives. This is a huge drag on them. And I'm not even going into the whole situation and cause, right? So, for example, AWS, they handles hardware failures, right? Data center power issues, your firmware patching across its infrastructure, things that you would otherwise manage manually. Your I teams have to manage manually. And this frees up your teams to focus on automation, your scaling, and innovation instead of routine maintenance. And you don't have to worry about mistakes and damages and downtimes in case any of those things done incorrectly can cost you severely time and money. So let's move over. So these are closely tied to reliability. Closely tied to reliability is high availability, right? And this is a key term for AWS. You're going to see it over and over and over. Once again, the reference the two PDFs I gave you, the AWS white papers and the AWS well architectured frameworks PDF, the 900 whatever page document. High availability is about maximizing your uptime, but also about balancing uptime goals with flexibility. So, in some cases, your business it might prioritize nonstop availability. In others, you might prefer slightly less uptime if it means you can deploy new features faster. So, AWS enables this balance across all types of architectures, and whether it's simple web apps with a database or a complex multi tier enterprise resource system, right? All right, moving on. Next one elasticity. This is a big keyword, AWS jargon, elasticity. And you have to know the definition of this because they're going to try to trick you with another word. So, the last major point in this part of the value proposition is elasticity. And elasticity, blah, blah, blah. It goes hand in hand with scalability, but it's not exactly the same thing. This is what I was talking about scalability. You're going to have on your AWS certification, right? Because now we're in the second one, which is from 2023 to 2026 and the previous one was 1 hour and 2. And this is a trick question, scalability. Elasticity adds another dimension, the ability to shrink. Shrinking resources when demand drops so you avoid paying for idle capacity, right? So with AWS, elasticity means matching your infrastructure to real demand, both upward and downward. And that way you get the right mix of performance and cost efficiency at all times. Listen, guys, I worked at the tier one backbone in telecommunications, right? You have three companies controlling like the Western world's internet, right? You have Cogent Communications, Lumen L3, and Hurricane Electric. And people, you know how often you're signed into a 1 year contract, with your capacity. But you don't have to deal with that with AWS unless you want to get a specialty thing like Cloud Connect, where, for an event or something. But we're not going to go into that. But I'm just saying the ability to not pay for that bandwidth all year is a huge savings of money for you. So let's move on. Connecting to well architected frameworks. So, to put it simply, AWS makes it possible to stay secure, reliable, and you're highly available and elastic. So, all while freeing you from heavy lifting of the traditional infrastructure. So, these pillars, they handle your security, your reliability, your availability, and your elasticity. Guys, these are the cloud value proposition, aka your business level benefits. Do not confuse these with the six pillars of your AWS well architected framework. We're going over the value proposition security, reliability, availability, and elasticity. So, for you CTOs and you CFOs, this is important for you. But they form the foundation of AWS's cloud value proposition and show you our organizations are adopting. All right. We're going to end with a question, right? Because you're going to have your exam if you're going to do the certification, if you feel like it. Let's go in. Elasticity in the AWS cloud refers to which of the following? Now you're going to choose two. A, how quickly an Amazon EC2 instance can be restarted. B, the ability to right size resources as demand shifts. C, the maximum amount of RAM an Amazon EC2 instance can use. D, the pay as you go billing model. And E, how easily resources can uh, be procured when they are needed. All right. I don't want to show you. Pause it if you need time to think because I'm going to click it. And here we go. B and E, the ability to right size resources as demand shifts. You can make it low and small and big, right? And E, how easily the resources can be procured when they're needed because you don't want to have to fight for it. All right. Thank you so much for ending up this lesson, right? And I'll see you soon.